Hi, Christiana. How you doing? Thank you so much for submitting your work. So I was reading through this, and you bring up a couple of really pertinent points here in your writing, and your writing is good. It really expresses your ideas quite nicely. So I've learned a lot about your design approach in this regard through your writing. So that's fantastic. So let's go ahead and take a look at your. I want to look at the one you've chosen, and I want to look back at your logo rough. So thank you very much. I'm so glad you included those, because honestly, I don't think your first choice is working. Let me describe why. And I'm not. I don't mean to sound discouraging at all. I'll give you plenty of reasons why, and then you can, uh, and then you can judge from there. So this is the one that you've decided. Now, as you said in your writing, you're trying to be clever, right? And that's great, but trying to force that can be really dangerous. If you've got a great idea, that's fantastic. Cultivate it. But if you're searching for ideas and searching, sometimes it's problematic. It'll come to you eventually, right? And unfortunately, we only have a few days here to develop our logos. But it's all a learning. It's all in the name of learning, right? So let's go ahead and jump back to that logo. Now, I don't get it. I don't see it, and I don't think it's effective. And again, please don't misunderstand my comments for being discouraging. They're not. I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly can. So you say that a construction should look like a cursor pointing up and to the right. Okay, I don't get that. I'm not seeing. I mean, once you describe it, I'm seeing it. But for the longest time, when I was looking at this in your first submission last week, I was like, "What the heck is that thing right there, and why is it there?" And I'm pretty astute when it comes to visual language and creating conceptual ideas based on combinations of typography, color, form, etc. And I looked at this for a while, and I'm still looking at it saying, I see problems, because I think it could be very difficult. If someone doesn't get it, it's going to work so much not in your favor. Because if someone sees it and says, oh yeah, I get it, that's a pointer, that's one thing, right? But wait, don't pointers usually point? Look at my pointer. Don't they usually point to the left and not the right? I don't know. Regardless, anyways, if they get it, that's great. But if they don't, and I think there's a high probability in this case that they won't get it without an explanation. Okay, so we have, this is where the part where I said I'm so glad you included your other variations, because I think this is gorgeous. I love it. I just love this. I think that the counter form associated with these basic lines is just that the negative space is gorgeous. I just think it's so effectively gorgeous. I just can't stand it. My mind is going. I'm seeing so many different um, uses for this, and just seeing how it's so versatile and it's just so easy to look at. It's interesting, it's engaging, it's inviting, it's simple, it's memorable, it's everything you ever wanted to have in a logo. I highly recommend pursuing this direction. Now, if you want to continue experimenting with color, that's great. Now, one thing I would recommend, highly recommend, is this. Now, you say creative designs. First of all, I would not use the plural of the word design. I would say creative design. And quite often the word creative can be overused in terms of branding for designers or somebody in the creative fields. There's an old saying that says, and again, I don't mean to sound discouraging, but there's this old saying that goes, if you use the word creative in your logo, you're probably not. So and I'm not saying this isn't creative. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's an old proverb. Years. I mean, I heard it. First time I heard it was 25 years ago. So just keep in mind that. So my recommendation is this: to use this as your monogram, your logo mark, right? And then configure your name. So watch my cursor. So either your logo mark, your monogram is here, and then right over here, Christina Ho, or I'm sorry, Christiana Ho, and then graphic design. Okay. Or another option would be to have it like this, so the monogram is above, and then Christina Ho creative, or wait, Christina Ho graphic design or creative design, however you want to put that. But I definitely recommend including your full name here. That's who you are. That's who you want to be known as. You want people to make a connection between this mark your branding and your name. Okay, so let's put your name front and center, and let's embed it in the viewer's mind. Um, okay, so those are my recommendations. So think about that. Again, as I said, if you want to work around with this a little more and apply my recommendations and resubmit, I'll be glad to provide additional and further critique. If you're working, I'm working. So I don't care if you do 10 different variations, I'll be glad to comment on them. I would say that if you're working on this and you want to post something this week, just go ahead and post it right back into this forum. But if you find yourself working into next week, just go ahead and post it to the general questions if you need further comments and clarifications, okay? Speaking of comments and clarifications, if you need me to clarify anything I've said in this video, or if you have any questions whatsoever, please get with me. You won't wait for an answer from me. Quite often I respond to student emails, questions, and comments in a matter of hours. So you'll get pretty much immediate response. So, okay, great start. Thanks so much for sharing, Christiana.